Here we come with podcast number 2 for intermediate level. Welcome, everyone. Well, I have to confess that I was taking a nap before this podcast, and I have to say that honestly, it's really hard for me to take naps because I just take more than 30 minutes sometimes. But this time, I think I was okay. Well, I was thinking about this podcast a lot because I know that some of you have really difficulties with this specific topic. Well, in terms of grammar, it's conditional number 3. Si yo hubiera hecho, si yo hubiera sido, si ella hubiera hecho, si ella hubiera tenido. And because this structure is very specific. So that's what we're going to practice. So what we're going to do is that I am going to read some sentences first, and then you're going to think about how you can say these sentences in English, okay? So the first part basically is try to construct this in your head. And then at the end, we're going to have a little, extra rehearsal, extra practice with other examples. Now that you have the structure, more precise, okay? You have a clearer picture. All right? Are you ready? Here we go. Okay. All right, the first thing. Si yo me hubiera comido su postre, if I had eaten her dessert. Okay, if it's a girl, maybe it's his, right? If I had eaten her dessert. Okay, let's go to to another example. We're just gonna be practicing the first part, okay? Like if I had. Number 2, si hubiera ido a la joyería. If I had gone to the jewelry. If I had gone to the jewelry store. Okay, number 3. Si se hubiera ido a la casa, si se hubiera ido de la casa a las 8. If he had left the house at 8, it could be 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. Number 4. Si no hubieras chocado tu carro contra otro. If you had not, you can make the contraction here too. If you hadn't bumped your car into another one, if you hadn't bumped your car into another one. Number 5. Si ellos hubieran vivido en otro país, if they had lived in another country, if they had lived in another country. There you go. So that's the first part. As you can see, if I had eaten, if I had gone, if he had left, if you hadn't bumped, if they had lived. Now, let's see what is the consequence of that. Si yo me hubiera comido su postre, if I had eaten her dessert, what would have happened? There you go. Ella me hubiera matado. Yes. She would have killed me. She would have. So remember, after the subject she, you're going to add would have always, okay? Would have, and the rest is the verb in past participle. Okay. If I had eaten her dessert, she would have killed me. She would have killed me. Oh my God. Si hubiera ido a la joyería. Let's try to remember. If I had gone to the jewelry store, hubiera presenciado el robo. I would have witnessed the robbery. I would have witnessed the robbery. Number 3. Si se hubiera ido de la casa a las 8, if he had left the house at 8, él hubiera llegado a tiempo a la conferencia. He would have been on time at the conference. He would have been on time at the conference. Ok. Si no hubieras chocado tu carro contra otro. If you hadn't bumped your car into another one. No hubiéramos gastado tanto dinero. We wouldn't have spent so much money. We wouldn't have spent so much money. So, wouldn't have, would not have. Finally, number 5. Si ellos hubieran vivido en otro país, if they had lived in another country, no los hubiéramos conocido. We wouldn't have met them before. We wouldn't have met them before. All right. Okay, let's practice the first part of this structure again, but with different examples. So try to recreate all of this in your head first. All in your mind. Here we go. Si no me hubiera comido esos frijoles en la noche. If I hadn't or had not. If I hadn't eaten those beans at night. I don't have the answer for that, guys. Okay. Si lo hubiera besado. If I had kissed her. There you go. Si ella hubiera sido más específica. If she had been more specific. Si no les hubiéramos contado. If we hadn't told them. Si yo no lo hubiera dormido. What I'm saying? Si yo no hubiera dormido tanto. Okay, I think I overslept, guys. Si yo no hubiera dormido tanto. If I hadn't slept that much. Okay? Okay, now the second part to practice. I want to say, no se hubieran chocado. They wouldn't have bumped each other. They wouldn't have bumped each other. No lo hubieran robado. I mean, let's talk about the bank, for example. They wouldn't have robbed the bank. No hubiera tenido diarrea. Let's talk about him, okay? He wouldn't have had diarrhea. There you go, guys. So just rewind these sentences to practice the third conditional. Si yo hubiera, ¿qué hubiera pasado? Have a nice day and night.